It just means the more you're putting out into the world, the more you're giving of yourself, the more, a lot of the men of many generations ago would say that if you don't build something, Scott, you're not really doing anything. Well, you can build a lot of pride and success in things with your hands, and you can see the result. In the service industry, you can build a business, you can build someone else's business, you can build relationships, you can build pride every day by putting out in the world what you're great at. And if you're doing that, you're gonna feel so much better about everything that's going on. There's more hiring signs around than I've ever seen in my life. And I'm watching restaurants. I do eat out on a regular basis, and I'm very grateful for it. But friends of mine that own restaurants are struggling to find great people. And it got me thinking about some bigger items. And I just want to share a couple of them with you. Here's the reality. When you're working, you're producing. When you're producing, you have pride. When you're proud of what you're producing, you have an end result of better energy. You're happier. You're living life to the fullest, even if your job isn't the best. I don't want to get in an argument as to whether or not the service industry could use an overhaul or whether or not it's a crappy job. I mean, look, I washed dishes in the service industry. I remember. It was minimum wage and I washed dishes. You know what I learned? I got another job. When I didn't like that job, I found another one. And there's 50,000 of them around right now. So if one of them isn't great, there's something out there to be done, right? But I learned from that job that I didn't want to ever do again what I didn't ever want to do again. Like washing dishes was not fun for me. The service industry is full of unbelievable jobs. And I'm just using this as an example because there's a lot of other companies right now that are searching aimlessly for great people. But this is the point. Pride produces productivity. And that productivity is not just in your job. It's all around in your life. So I find myself right now going into a restaurant, and I can tell you I've been to some of my favorite restaurants, and the service has not been great. But I also have perspective. And perspective is I know the struggle everyone has. I know that there's less people doing more work. I know that the people that are showing up right now are working double as hard. By the way, if you're working right now in the service industry or any industry that's struggling to have people show up, thank you. Thank you. And if you're watching this video and you're watching them struggle, tip them more. Give them more. Thank them more. Because the reality is the owners are doing the best that they can to pull people in. And by the way, they can only pay them so much. I mean, you have to have a limit to turn a profit to stay in business or you're not in business anymore. It's been kind of a hard year for most of the service industry. There hasn't been a whole lot of business coming in, raking in the business in every category. But I want to go back to pride for a minute because this is key. And I think back to just being, to the moment of being a father or a mother, right? If your son or daughter calls you coming out of college and they're working at a restaurant and COVID shut them down. And so now they're on unemployment and they don't have a job and the restaurant's not open, but they actually call you and say, hey, mom, dad, this is awesome. I don't have to work right now. I'm actually getting way more sitting at home than I am actually earning at my career. Meanwhile, you have another son or daughter who's working at that same restaurant now because they've reopened and they're working triple shifts and they're doing triple the work and they're just so exhausted at the end of the day. I am willing to bet that as a parent or a friend or a mentor, we always want to give the person the advice to work, to produce, to create, because they're going to feel so much better about themselves. See, you feel better when you're giving to the world versus taking from the world, period. Just life is like that. The more we give, the more we receive. And I can tell you every place I go, I'm just so honored and humbled that people are willing to serve us, that they're willing to do a job that they may have been able to not do had they not just decided to produce. Now, I'm generalizing, so I want to be honest with you. If you're just watching up to this point, what you'll understand is this. It's really, really, really important to understand. I know not everybody has the same opportunities as as the people I may be talking about. You know who you are. If you're at home right now and you're working double as hard because your industry can't find people to work, thank you. We should lift you up right now, because that's what I'm teaching my kids. That's what I hope my friends are teaching their children. It's that productivity produces pride, and pride produces good humans, and good humans put good stuff out into the world. You are the energy that you give off to the world. And so, I remember a young person came to me one time and they were complaining. They were living at home right out of college, and this is the perfect example. And they, good person, like just graduated, great career opportunity, and they're living at home and they are complaining to me. They're like, can you believe that my parents want to charge me rent? And I was like, wait, you're telling me that you're living at home and your parents want to charge you rent? And they're like, yeah. And I said, okay, so what's the problem? They're like, well, I'm trying to catch up, I'm trying to save, I'm trying to do this. And here's the reality of that situation. I think I blacked out for a moment, because I literally started saying, hold on a second. You just graduated from college. You're in a really great position to have a great job, which you have, which you don't like. So here are the options. Change your job. That's a choice. Change your residence. Get out of the house. You feel way better when you're not living at home under mom and dad's roof. You know why? Because you're producing on your own. Even if you have a bad job, you will love yourself and the productivity that you're producing way better because you're actually producing. You don't feel better living off of somebody else. You never will. That'll always be an emptiness inside of you as long as you're there. And the more you're using somebody, the worse you feel about yourself, even if it seems like a good idea. It seems like a good idea to get ahead. It wasn't. And I started talking to this individual, and I said, look, you got to just get out. Just go out and get an apartment. And they're like, it's going to be so expensive. I'm like, no, you can afford it. Get an apartment. Literally in 6 months, this individual had changed jobs, gotten an apartment, and was producing and better off than I had ever seen them. A year later, they ended up buying their own home. All of that was trajectory based on the pride of productivity. What does the pride of productivity really mean? The more, a lot of the men of many generations ago would say that if you don't build something, Scott, you're not really doing anything. Well, you can build a lot of pride and success in things with your hands, and you can see the result. In the service industry, you can build a business, you can build someone else's business, you can build relationships, you can build pride every day by putting out in the world what you're great at. And if you're doing that, you're gonna feel so much better about everything that's going on. So, couple of points to round out. Number one, if you're working, thank you. If you're not, I wish you the best of luck to find something that really fits you, that you're passionate about, that you love. And if you're sitting at home and you're struggling with some of these feelings, let's figure out a way to produce. Let's figure out a way to get some pride into that decision. I can guarantee one thing: production of what you're great at, your unique ability, whatever it is, just working in general makes you feel pride. And when you feel pride, you're more successful to everyone around you. And it's not about how much money you make. It's not about how much stuff you show. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about just putting out in the world what you were made to put out and feeling good about it. It's human nature. Very simple. And I'm really, really grateful to all the service industry individuals that have been waiting on us. I'm really grateful to all my friends that own restaurants and the ones I don't know. I'm just grateful that you're still in business, that you've hustled through a crazy year, that you're now dealing with another challenge. And for all the high school kids that are out there that are watching this, here's an idea. You have one of the greatest opportunities ever. All those unbelievable jobs you couldn't get because all the college kids and the kids outside of college have been hoarding for the last 2 decades, you now have an opportunity to go work for one of the coolest restaurants or one of the best businesses that's around because they can't find work. They're looking to develop new talent. That's the opportunity that you seek in these moments. It's unbelievable. I mean, I can remember wanting to have those opportunities and being like, oh, you can't work there unless you've been here for 3 years and you know somebody, and this is it's all open right now. This is creating an opportunity. So if you happen to be one of the people sitting at home and you want a job, go find one. Just find one and then build on it. You don't have to stay there. If you don't like it, get another one. I hated dishwashing. I'm never washing dishes again unless at home and if I have to. But I don't want to wash dishes at a restaurant ever again. But that's my choice. I chose to do something else with my hands, move them around in a lot of videos. So I'm Scott Danner. Thanks for joining me. If you're working, thank you. If you're not, I can't wait to see your production. I know it's in you. Go out and do it.